no such thing as losing. Every experience, whether it brings us joy or teaches us a lesson, is a part of our growth. When we start seeing setbacks as learning opportunities, we become unstoppable. We build resilience, confidence, and wisdom, turning our toughest times into our greatest strengths. Welcome to Slay, the podcast where we dive into all aspects of female health, fitness, and life. I'm your host, Louise Hazel, and today's episode is all about a powerful mindset shift, one that can change how we view our experiences, especially through tough times. There's a saying that goes, there's no such thing as losing. Either you win or you learn. This approach is about seeing every challenge, every setback, and every failure not as a loss, but as an opportunity to grow and learn. When we face difficult times, we often feel defeated. But what if we could turn every setback into a setup for something greater? Let's dive into how we can navigate these stormy times, embrace failure as a teacher, and bounce back with even more resilience and confidence than before. So how do we reframe failure as learning? At its core, the win or learn mindset is about shifting our view of failure from something negative to something necessary. Instead of thinking, I failed, I'm not good enough, we can ask, what can I take from this experience will help me move forward? This perspective turns even the hardest experiences into moments of growth. For example, early on in her career, Oprah Winfrey was fired from her job as a news anchor in Baltimore, with producers claiming that she was unfit for TV. Now, instead of giving up, Oprah refused to concede. Rather than accept their version of reality, she created a reality and a team of her own, a team that supported her vision and started her own talk show, which became immensely popular, The Oprah Winfrey Show, which turned her into a household name and launched her empire to become one of the most influential women in media and philanthropy. These types of mindset shifts don't just feel better, they're backed by research too. Psychologists call this a growth mindset, which focuses on learning resilience. And people with a growth mindset are more adaptable, less stressed, and more resilient. Adopting this view helps us to not only endure challenging times, but also grow through them. So how can you at home start reframing your setbacks? Well, firstly, the key is to see every experience as valuable. Realize that every experience, no matter how it ends, is valuable to you in some way. Secondly, you must focus on the lesson. For every setback, find one thing that you learned about yourself, others, or your path forward, and make sure you write it down. And lastly, you have to learn to separate failure from your identity. Recognize that failure doesn't define who you are, what you're capable of, or change your purpose. It's just a stepping stone in your journey. The hardest part is accepting that the journey might take longer than you thought. So what are some practical ways to bounce back from a failure? Well, the first step to moving forward is acknowledging the disappointment, the frustration, or the sadness that might come with a setback or a loss. Take time to feel these emotions, journal, talk to a friend, or take a walk, whatever helps you to process. The goal is not to bury these feelings, but to release them so that you can move forward with a clear mind. And how can you reflect on this experience? Well, instead of replaying the mistakes over and over, ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience that I wouldn't have learned otherwise? Write down any insights and look for any patterns that you might notice as recurring lessons or see areas where you can improve. This reflection process turns the situation into a lesson rather than a loss. So how can you set new and adjusted goals? Well, in the aftermath of a setback, believe it or not, it's the perfect time to set small, manageable goals that rebuild your confidence back up. Let's say you're dealing with a career setback. Create a plan to gain new skills, network, or set small daily goals that keep you moving forward. Each small goal achieved reinforces resilience and progress. And how can you practice self-compassion? This is an important one, guys. It's so common to beat yourself up and dwell on the things that could have been different, but that's not going to help you long term. Being kind to yourself is crucial in bouncing back. Instead of berating yourself, try speaking to yourself as you would a friend. Remind yourself, this is part of the journey, or every strong person has faced challenges. Self-compassion isn't about excusing mistakes. It's about giving yourself the grace so that you have the emotional energy to keep going. Remember, where you put your attention gets your energy. So it's absolutely crucial right now to treat yourself and your body well. Meditate, exercise, and eat healthy, balanced meals. Why would you want to prolong negative feelings and emotions? Now, I'm not much of a writer, I'm more of a talker. So most of the time, I discuss any problems that I have each day with my husband, Eric, much to his dismay. But if you enjoy writing and you want to keep a record of how your emotions are evolving, you could start a learning journal. At the end of each day, you can jot down one thing that you learned. This can be a big revelation or a small insight, anything that helps you to reframe your day as a success, even if it's had challenges. This will often help take the power away from those challenging days and put the energy back into your hands. Now, whenever I'm going through tough times, I always start my day by practicing gratitude, especially during the toughest of times. Just taking a moment to acknowledge what's going on to help shift my perspective. And studies have shown that gratitude builds resilience by reminding us of what's actually working in our lives, even if it's just something small. So if you're struggling today, write down one thing that you're grateful for, no matter how simple it is. Another tool that has worked for me countless times in the past, especially during my sporting career, is visualization. Is there a way for you to spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself bouncing back from this challenge, feeling stronger and more confident? Sometimes I use the time right before bedtime to practice this. Could you close your eyes and picture yourself achieving your goals and handling setbacks with grace and courage? Not only will visualization help you mentally rehearse resilience, it can make real world challenges much easier to handle. Now, you know me. There's seldom a day that goes by that I don't move my body. And I move my body for a number of reasons. Some days it's because I have ridiculously unrealistic physical goals that I want to achieve. Other days it's because I have aesthetic goals that I want to achieve. But more than anything, I move my body because in order to have a sound mental and emotional health, I need a physical outlet for my emotions and feelings. Otherwise, I get really pent up, I get angry, I get rageful, I get stressed. So if you're anything like me, then you have to move your ass for your own sanity, if anything else. Now, moving your body, whether it be through dancing, walking, yoga, or exercise, helps to relieve stress and remind you of your strength. Now, physical activity doesn't just improve your mood, it also builds that mental resilience that we've been talking about. And in my case, it stops you from getting locked up. And lastly, it's important to remind yourself who you spend time with matters. People have the ability to greatly affect your mindset. So remove yourself from people who drain your energy and start surrounding yourself with people who support you and lift you up. You might even need to take a break from social media to stop fueling the inflammatory thoughts and feelings and start extinguishing them with activities and people that help you heal. Seek out stories, books, and podcasts of others who have overcome setbacks to remind yourself that you're not alone and it can be done. The next thing I want to talk about is reflection. I want you to take a closer look at what went wrong and what role, if any, that you played in it. This exercise is not about blame, but it's about understanding the reality of the situation. Were you being naive? Is there an area in which you can improve upon? Are there any skills, relationships, or communication? And just start from there. Even small adjustments can lead to big changes over time. One of the things that I used to do after I had a terrible race as an athlete was a failure debrief, where I would ask myself and answer the following questions. What did I do well? What could I have done differently? And what will change next time? Now, as an elite athlete, this was one of the most important workouts of my week, and it ensured that I got better every single time I stepped on the track. Now, sometimes the thing that I needed to change was waking up an hour early. Sometimes it was making sure that I had a checklist of everything that I needed. But ultimately, a failure debrief is there to highlight your weaknesses and the things that you need to improve upon in order to increase your chances of success in the future. And lastly, don't forget to celebrate progress, not just the outcomes, because building resilience isn't just about achieving flawless success, it's about showing up, celebrating each step, even if it feels small. Every time you take an action, you're moving forward, and forward is progress towards something bigger and something better. And as long as you don't concede, you will learn how and what it takes to win. So remember, there's no such thing as losing. Every experience, whether it brings us joy or teaches us a lesson, is a part of our growth. When we start seeing setbacks as learning opportunities, we become unstoppable. We build resilience, confidence, and wisdom, turning our toughest times into our greatest strengths. Thank you for tuning in. And if this is an episode that you enjoyed, please share it with someone who might be going through a tough time or their own storm. Together we can embrace life challenges, knowing that either way, win or learn, we're growing stronger. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, you're never losing, only ever learning. That concludes this episode of Slay. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions on female health, fitness, and life. You can follow me at Louise Hazel on social media, and you can check out Slay Brand at Slay Athletic Club. And don't forget to subscribe to the Slay podcast if you haven't done so already on YouTube, and leave us a comment. You can also get fit at home using our Slay app. You can download that now for free from the App Store and join our online community. Just hit the link in my bio on Instagram.